discussions. We talk about contemporary topics, happenings. We bring it to you from a different angle, different from what you would get by just scrolling your mouse or clicking your remote. We like to think that we are different. We're not just another Me Too uh, broadcast. So tonight, I have some special guests, some really hardworking guests, and they are putting together what is going to turn out to be a real treat for you. You must have heard of the Write-Tukubuli uh, Literary Festival. It's a festival of writers, of authors, of poets, and of course the people who love books. And that festival is scheduled for September the 15th to the 20th. I told you I have some wonderful, uh, this discussion on the tap for you tonight. So if you come back every week, welcome back. Special good evening to those in Dominica listening to us via RVR Jams Radio. It's an online radio station that carries this weekend interview live on DigiPlay channel 59. Also in the Toronto market, we have Radio SBE that carries this weekend interview live as well. So if you're listening to either one of those stations, thank you to the management for bringing the program live, and also, we want you to share it. And those of others who are listening on social media, Facebook, Instagram, what we have, Roku. We have our own YouTube channel. This week in interview, we started a YouTube channel, but more popular is the TDN Media YouTube channel. And on Facebook, we have this week in interview Facebook page as well as TDN Facebook page. Some of you don't do social media, so we have TDN Radio. You listen to us on tdnradio.net, tdntv.4.net if you're not driving or doing or sitting where you can actually give us some attention. Right. So, as I said, come September 15th, we have a week of activities scheduled, a week of activities from Monday to Saturday, Monday the 15th to Saturday the 20th. And during that time, we are going to be all about written work. It's not just written because some of the folks who wrote them will be on talking about them, reading them for us. So we are really looking forward to that. I have with me two special guests, members of the Write-Tukubuli Literary Festival Committee, and they have come on tonight. So tonight they're on with us because next week, Wednesday, believe it or not, that's the week of the festival. So we'll be going live to the festival to bring you whatever is going on live. That's our next week show. But tonight they're going to tell you what's going on. I have on tap uh, Mr. Sam George. Those of you who are familiar with TDN would know Sam. Is the Sam is the executive producer, the manager. I don't know how many hats that he wears. He's the chief research and tech guy. Sam George is joining us. So Sam, just you can just do a quick wave because I'm going to bring everybody up. Also, we are going to let me do that view instead. We have uh, Mr. Roy Sanford on as well, and of course the unstoppable, I should say, Celia Sorrendo. When I say unstoppable, you have to be on this committee to know what I'm talking about. She's a dynamo, keeping everything on track and keeping everything straight. I am in total awe of her coordination skills. So tonight we're going to talk about the Write-Tukubuli virtual festival. Celia, I'm going to go to you first. Ladies first, right? the
Hey,
fair one among all the sons.
thanks so much, Anthony. And just want to say so sorry that the other team member, Nicole Georges Bennett, couldn't join us tonight. We're really missing her. And just want to say, thank you for this opportunity and thank you for your show because you've been a supporter of writers for such a long time, since way back that I can remember with the Nature Island Literary Festival. So thank you so much. And this is definitely a team effort. So yes, everybody is pulling out. There's no holds barred for the amount of work that is going into to putting this on. So thank you so much for having us on.
Yeah, everybody is pulling really hard, as you said. I know Nicole is not here is because she really could not be here with us. But we've been abusing her, so that hopefully that's not contributing to why she's not here. She hasn't run away from us. She's been editing videos and producing flyers and all of this other stuff. Because these folks we've had a tremendous response from you, the audience, and from the writing world out there to our appeal for participation. It's overwhelming. I am saying we because I am I tag along on the committee as well, and so when I say we because TDN is part of that. I Sam is home. People start saving for last. Roy, welcome to this week in interviews. A pleasure to have you. You're muted.
Uh, Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be on your show. Looking forward to a lively discussion.
Yeah, certainly. Roy, I had you on the program sometime back, a few years back, and you read one of your works. I think it was, I'm not sure if it was part of the Flying Crapo collective, but you were talking about the practice of when somebody dies and the rituals that we do in Dominica, especially with your Kalinago roots, some of the practices that you all practice. And years later, up till last year, so I was talking to somebody and they said, when you had Roy on and he was reading his story, um, I had I had nightmares. I still have nightmares when I think about
Oh,
apparently your work um, really hit a nerve. You really captured that spirit of not fear, but I guess it's a kind of a reverence, and of course a healthy respect for those who have transitioned. And you were able to bring that out in your story to where years later, because it's quite a while now we had that conversation.
yeah, it's
Years
about
later, people are
seven or eight
still,
years now, man.
yeah, people still talking about that story that you read about the character. I think his grandmother died or something like that, and he had a night. So, folks, that's just the type of works that we will be presenting in the Write-Tukubuli virtual uh, literary festival. You cannot miss it. Yeah, if you grew up in Dominica, I imagine it's the same for most of the other Caribbean islands. Storytelling is just woven into our DNA. From doing Brian Nancy stories at school to in Dominica we had Kopelape and Tig, the rabbit and the tiger Kopelape, always a con man. Well, maybe not a con man, just know how to get out of tight situations. And most of the time we live in Kopel Tig holding the bag. And I I grew up in the village and I left Dominica in '87 to go to college, university, and the village did not have electricity as yet. I'm from the East Coast. And so we would take full advantage of the moonlight and we would be out playing and telling stories and all of those kind of things. It's part of our culture, part of our DNA. And so you can see that when you read the works of our authors. They are so talented and passion comes through. That's all of that is going to be part and parcel of the virtual literary festival. Never mind that it's virtual. We have a way of making the virtual feel very, very real. uh, you know, we use the technology. We use the technology. I don't know if those of you who were lucky enough to listen to Redemption Road, where we created a radio series, a drama series, and the actors and actresses were in very different locations in Dominica, in New York, in Houston, in Austin, in Canada, Toronto, different cities in Canada, and we're able to record everybody and have a drama series going on that you would swear that they were in the same room. If somebody didn't tell you that these stories were virtually recorded, you would not know. You would think that they were meeting in a theater and doing full live production with each other. And one of the people behind that is the next person I'm going to introduce you to, Mr. Sam George. Sam has been able to really, just work his magic with technology into the storytelling, into the informatics, into CDN. And so I can guarantee you that with Sam on board, it will not feel like a virtual festival. It's going to feel very, very real. Sam, I always love when you are not in the background hiding and doing production work. I like when you're in front of the mic and the camera. So my brother, it's a pleasure to have you.
Well, thank you, my brother. As always, it's always good to change positions. Sometimes, sometimes you can't always remain in the back of the class, right?
That's right.
And
That's right.
so, yeah, it's a pleasure. It's always fun being on this side of the mic, and so yeah. But before we go too far, I just want to say thank you to Celia and Roy and Nicole and you, for
And you can say yours truly as well. You can say yourself as well.
but yeah, all of you guys, when this idea first came up, when this idea first came up, um, everyone on the screen and some behind, some who are not here, jumped on it and were ready to help. And there's just no way we could have gotten this done without everyone, without Celia, without you, without Roy or Nicole. And even at that, it is still almost overwhelming. You know, the number of people who responded, number of authors who responded to this call, it amazed me. And I know I have said this before, but we didn't expect that response. I like to say and it's the truth. When I looked at the number of registrations, at first we were at 20. I might be mixing up the numbers, but I was at 20. We were at 20, and I was like, okay, that's a good response. We have a few videos to edit, and then we got to 30, and then we got to 40. And when we got to 40 responses, I stopped checking it because, yeah, I just no, and by the time registration was ended, we had over 70 authors and people who provide services registered. We have over 96 videos.
Wow.
And videos and we call it images and all sorts. So it was just amazing to see the response so far. So I'm like, while I'm happy for the response from the authors, no, this is the time for you, the readers. And I'll stop there for now, and we can talk more about that as we go along. But
Yeah.
your time.
So, you know, I've always thought that it would be a great a good thing to have
Yeah, yeah.
a festival. You know, I in high school, well, even like in primary school in Casabros, we were introduced to reading. So I still remember my first book. My brother, the first book I owned, my brother Joe was a teacher at the time, and he went down to Roseau to get his salary, and he came back up and he had bought a book for me, The Adventures of Hercules. And I must have read that book 1,000 times and got hooked on storytelling and so on. And growing up, I would read everything. I would read everything. I would stop by the cemetery and read what's on the tombstone. Um, my three siblings in front of me were sisters, so I must have read every Mills and Boons and Blue Jean comic, every romantic Grace Livingstone Hill, and all. I still remember them. I I, I mean I just read everything, and so and at Castlebrus in the afternoon they would take us out to the classroom. There was a nice mango tree. Um, our school was overlooking the police station. There was a mango tree right there. They used to take us there. We would take our benches, our chairs, and go there, and we would read stories by Longfellow and some of the other authors of the time. And got just got hooked on stories, on just reading. I'd read everything. I take a dictionary, I read the dictionary, I read whatever on it. Once it was written down, even today I walk in Brooklyn and people put books out for the garbage people, and I find myself stopping and seeing if there's any interesting book. um, and I got some treasures. I got like complete works of Dickens and some really nice short story book. So that was my relationship with books from a very, very early age. But like going to high school, if you're good in math or whatever, you get sort of channeled into science. And so I became on the science oriented side, but never lost my passion for books. And so when Celia says, she remembers that on the first Nature Island Festival, I was part of it, and I always have authors on, and we have really animated conversations. That is where that came from. And technology hasn't changed; it just made it easier. I have the Kindle app on my phone. I have it on my iPad, and if I have a book reading. Period. And so the why I'm saying that is that festivals, literary festivals, are important because reading is so critical. You know, somebody says if you make a mistake one time and you repeat the mistake, it's your fault, but so you should learn from your experience. But reading allows you to learn from other people's experience. And that is one of the main aspects of writing. In addition to that, it becoming a record of our history, right? So, Celia, I know you seem to be of the same mind because you put so much effort into, like, I know you have a page that you carry a lot of authors, and you have the listing of their books, and you're always involved in not just your own writing, but in also promoting and having available the writing of other writers. So what are your thoughts about the the literary festival? How important it is to you, and what role do you think it plays in our own landscape?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's crucial. I think if you think, way back when you would have had to have gone to the library or something like that to get a book to read, and these days with technology, we have so much access to resources online and things like that. But the trouble is, sometimes it can be overwhelming. And when you're a writer as well, you're just a single person in a very very large pond. So I think what the literary festival can do is just focus attention on resources that are useful for writers and other writers. And what is great about this one is that with a physical literary festival, you're limited with people who live outside of the area, whereas with a virtual literary festival, your audience can be anywhere. And it
Right.
also means that we can have Dominican writers showcase that are based in UK, in Canada, in America, as well as right here in Dominica. So I think those are some of the beautiful advantages of having a virtual literary festival. And, I think it was Nicole who mentioned that one of the reasons, she and Sam decided to do this was there was nothing on the calendar. There was nothing on our annual calendar for writers in the whole calendar of events. There was nothing for writers. So we thought that was really important. And we, although we're a tiny island, it doesn't mean we don't still have a voice and we have important things to say. And even though we don't have the $1 million budgets of or any budget, it doesn't mean that we don't have the passion and that we're really dedicated to showcasing everyone. Yeah.
Great, yeah, and that is super important. I see Nicole is sneaking some time to chat with us. Nicole, it's nice that to know that you're tuned in. Sophs as well, and Phil Senior. Folks, if when I want to know that you're on, if you comment, and so don't feel away if I don't mention your name because I can only on the screen that I am. I don't have the liberty to go scrolling around on the other platforms to see who's on. So only those who comment, their name show up and I can hear you. But good night to you, whether you comment or not. It's great to have you. Roy, as a writer, uh, and I just told you, obviously your book is well received and your writing is impactful. What has been your experience in terms of the ability to get your work in front of your desired audience in sufficiently large numbers? I don't know if I, I'm asking this question because I don't know if you're pretty happy with the exposure or if you think there's room for more. And in answering that, let's just talk about what a festival like what we're putting on, what opportunity that creates for writers like you.
Well, I think first of all, I think the festival is a very good idea, and I'm really happy that the people who kind of came up with the idea put it into action, and it is just rolling. But it is. I think I had mentioned something about that we have a large pool of literature in Dominica, and I think we are not that pool of literature or literary work. They're not getting as much exposure as it should.
Right.
Our music, bouillon, our dance is, they get a lot of exposure, and you can hear what about them being discussed even on Facebook and international pay or wherever. But our writers are not getting that much exposure. We have so many lovely books out there and so many lovely authors, and you hardly hear about it. So I think, or hardly hear about them. So I think the festival is a good way to get uh, people's work exposed, and also the authors themselves. As was previously mentioned, the the uh, the organizers has been very kind of overwhelmed by the response of the different writers or authors out there. So it shows that there is an interest, and authors are kind of searching for ways probably to expose their work a little bit more. So that festival would definitely be a good way of getting getting writers and authors a little bit more recognized.
Yeah. So and Catherine Dorset is saying hi everyone. She's one of the writers that's going to be participating. She has quite a body of work out there, many books and over a wide range of topic areas and genres and so on. So each of you guys can answer this question. What is the objective of the what is the objective? What are we hoping to achieve by hosting, by putting on a literary festival? What do we hope? What do we hope to achieve? What are some of the objectives? Sam, I'll start with you.
Sure. Yeah, that's thank you for that question. One of the things we are hoping to um, achieve, Roy kind of mentioned it. Well, mentioned it. It's giving our Dominican authors uh, exposure. Even if you feel like you are already established, people know you. You may have sold 1 million in books. That's fine. You're welcome, to join us, because this is about, it's not about an individual, it's not about any one person or one group. It's about the entire literary society in Dominica, and trying to bring back some of that, or the reverence we had for books when we were younger, the to encourage our young people to not only get into read, and to also get into writing, because we are a wonderful country with lots of resources, natural talents in different areas of life. We can sing, we can dance, we can write, we can play cricket, football, whatever, but not everybody can do the same thing. And so it's to show that there are other areas and other aspects of life that our young people can get into, that they can use to have a positive impact on the society and the writer world, and also help put Dominica on the map. We are not only, we shouldn't only be known, or we don't only want to be known for SeaWorld. While SeaWorld is great and everything, it has its time and its place. And so we ought to be able to be known throughout the Caribbean and the rest of the world as a place where writers come from, or authors come from. I
Right.
was talking to someone, and they live in another Caribbean island, and I think she may have said that publicly as well, where there are basically no writers.
Right.
And so that's just a way to give writers, give authors a platform to showcase their work, as Nicole is saying on that comment. And that's whether you are known or whether you are just emerging. It's to provide encouragement, all of this, all the positive things that can come out of something like that. This is what we are looking for. So whatever you can think of that would make a literary festival great, that's what we are looking to achieve. um,
Yeah.
yeah. And
And just to tap on to what Sam just said, because it's not just about authors showcases. We have like workshops, webinars lined up. So again, when we were talking about there's a lot of resources out there, sometimes you don't know where to find them. So we've organized webinars about self-publishing your book. If you're interested in publishing your novel, we've got webinars about if you're interested in poetry and you're a bit intimidated in trying it, about marketing, things like that. And we also one of the things for me as a writer, what's been really helpful is when I listen to other writers talk about their journeys, because
Right.
sometimes you can think you're on your own about certain parts of the writing journey, especially publishing. And so it's really helpful to listen to writers talk about their own journeys. So we have a set of interviews as well with writers at all different levels, and also, you know, just to show that we can be part of the discussions out there, discussions about AI, discussions about children's books, discussions about, you know, our languages, Creole language, Kalinaga, Kokoi, that, you know, we can hold those discussions and invite others to participate. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, Roy, anything you want to add to that about the, you know, the hopes and the aspirations and the objectives of the festival?
I just want to echo the sentiment of Osilia and Sam, and but also add that, you know, we really need something like that. And I know we had the literary festival some years back, and it hopefully maybe one day it will come back on stream. But we definitely need something like this. And I think, as I mentioned earlier, our writers, our authors, our literary work needs a little bit more exposure. And I think this is what this festival will, you know, help accomplish.
Yeah. So the technology kind of evens the playing field a little bit, makes it easier for folks who are less resourced to do things like this. You know, before to get the works of 70 writers showcase. I mean, if we pause and think about that, when we say, you know, 5 people come together and imagine a literary festival and put out invitations out there, and within a couple of weeks, 70 writers uh, from wide spectrum of genres respond positively. Uh, Imagine if we had to do that in person. Imagine if we did not have the technology, what a daunting task it would be. I mean, everybody would love to have that kind of response. So again, the technology gives us that ability. Folks, I'm going to take a quick break. We're at the bottom of the hour, so we have to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we will continue our conversation with the organizers of the Write-Tukubuli Virtual Literary Festival, Miss Celia Sorrendo, Mr. Roy Sanford, and Mr. Sam George. And we have sort of have Nicole because she is in the chat and making valuable contributions as well. So we're not treating her as the audience, we're treating her as part of the guests, and we love her contributions so far. But mark your calendar. Uh, September 15th to the 20th, and you can see what sort of will happen on a daily basis, because we have sessions starting at 8:30 a.m. all the way to the evenings, when we have a lively discussion called Lit Vibes. But let me take a quick break, and when we come back, we will go through the schedule of activities, and we'll tell you how you can get to tune in, and how it would even be worth taking the week off and just spending the week in the festival. Or if your boss is not too bad, uh, then you can understand that you're going to be glued to your device as you tune into the virtual literary festival, the Write-Tukubuli virtual festival. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Yeah, just tell your boss I ain't coming to work today, man.
This week.
Yeah.
So, quick break.
Presented by
Hi, literary lovers. My name is Roy Sanford, author and writer, and I have wonderful news for you. I'm here to invite you to get ready to immerse yourself in the wonderful world of word and art at the first ever Write-Tukubuli Virtual Literary Festival. Engage your favorite authors, participate in workshops, and dive into discussions that will spark your imagination. Join us for inspiring panels, captivating readings, and dynamic workshops, all from the comfort of your home. So don't miss out on this vibrant celebration of culture and creativity. Save the date, September 15th to the 20th, and follow us on social media for further updates at hashtag Write-Tukubuli.
All right, so we are back. We are back. We have only one sponsor tonight. It's the Write-Tukubuli Virtual Literary Festival, September 15th to the 20th. You don't want to miss it. You know, the well, as Sam and Celia and Roy were explaining, the whole our goals, aspirations. I was making a little bit of notes, and what struck me was that it is for as much for the writers as it is for you, the readers of their work. So somebody who has a book in them, who are an aspiring writer and wants to know, how do I go about getting my desire to have a book out there? You will have the resources available. You'll have people that you can contact that can help guide you to not to write in your book, and if you have it written already, to get it published, to get it marketed. And so the aspiring writer would get benefit. The novice writer, we have a few writers who signed on, and it's their first work, and they're still a little timid, and they will get pointers and get their hands held, and find an embracing community that's there to really help them uh, track the path that they walked, and so they don't have to discover everything for themselves. And we have the more seasoned writers who just will also get re-energized from the mixing with the novices and the aspiring writers, because sometimes you get that shot of adrenaline, that shot of energy, because you remember when you had just started, and you can get re-inspired all over again. So and you have shared experiences, you have storytelling, you have shared experiences. It's just going to be a wonderful time. Sam, if you put up the schedule again, what we're understanding from this time is that every day starting on the 15th, this is what the list of activities would be like. So at 8:30 we have um like a little workshop on writing, and then you can jump in anytime and correct me and add, right? Any one of you guys. So you have a little uh, the basics of writing is probably the first one, or so it carries through for those of you who probably just writing in your diary or journal. How do you turn that into a work that you can publish? And you have young voices, uh, so you have different folks who are into writing from 9 o'clock until 10:30. It looks like you have some of the schools involved there and some of the young people. And then from noon we have storytellers. That's where folks are going to be presenting their books, excerpts from their books, and so on. From 12 uh, until 3 p.m. Well, 12 until 12:30, and then we have features. Dominica Public Library, again, you have storytellers continuing after the lunch break from 12:30 to 1. There's a break, and then you continue from 1 to 3, and then from 4 p.m. for you have food for thought, and so uh, Sam, what is food for thought? Is that poem or is poetry, or is that just folks writing about philosophy and
Yeah.
stuff?
Let
So
Celia
yeah,
tell you.
yeah. So basically, what we tried to do, if you can imagine, we had all these amazing submissions come through.
Hmm.
So we tried to pick common themes that we saw in some
Hmm.
of the recordings we'd received. So we grouped them. Obviously, we wanted to start with our young writers first, our young, just to show, look, it's amazing what these young people are doing. There's, for instance, the FCFC, stories that are actually written by children. They're not books for children. They're stories that are actually written by the
Right.
children themselves.
Right.
So we really wanted to kick off the festival with that. And again, it just showed the diversity of what we received. The food for thought is where it's kind of the extracts whereby the writers are talking about things, subjects that really make you want to think about consciousness. There's different things, about race, about color. So we put that under a heading of food for thought. Just those areas where just the content might give you something to take away and ponder for a while. So yeah, that we just try to group the segments into common themes.
Right. As you say that, I guess, and the audience is getting a little peek behind the the work that went into organizing this festival, because you get all of this body of work, and you hear that we had, they had to sift through it and categorize them, and so that it can be presented,
Mm-hmm.
in a coherent and coordinated manner. And then after that, in the evening, starting at 5 p.m., there's a webinar. The first one I guess, would be self-publishing your novel. Now again, as we said, technology has been a great leveler of the playing field, and giving folks who may be a little bit resource challenged, people who have more time and sweat equity than they have funds, will say, okay, let me do this myself. Whereas before, the only choice you had was to hire a publisher. So you had self-publishing. And then from 7:30, there is what is called Lit Vibe, where it's like a live panel discussion where the audience will be able to, well, there's a panel that's going to be presenting their ideas and discussing back and forth. But during that time, the audience can participate via your comments and so on, and so really a lively discussion and mutually learning and sharing experience. So that is typically what a day would look like. Any one of you?
Yes, yes, that's typically what the day is gonna look like
Right.
for the week. Each day we will have pretty much the
That
schedule
format.
will look pretty much like that. So that
Yeah,
will be
this,
the
yeah,
format for each day
the
of the week,
format.
except for the last day, the Saturday, where we will have, well, we're planning a 6 hour event
Hmm.
essentially.
Hmm.
We'll have two again. Thank you to TDN Radio DJs. We'll have two of our DJs, and they will each have a few minutes to play. We'll have different things going on. We have what we call an in-memory segment, and that's what we are going to begin with, as a matter of fact, where that's basically an hour of honoring Dominican authors who have since gone to the great beyond, and um, and so on. So we also have an open mic. We're gonna have, well, we'll actually have two open mics, because what we realize is we have some pre-recorded videos, but then later in the day we're gonna have like 30 minutes of time that we need to fill out. So we're gonna make that a live open mic session. So anyone who has anything to share can jump in and just share. So we'll have 30 minutes of that. We also have a discussion on um, how we can improve distribution and readership. So it's just, and we mix all of that with some of the theme music because I don't know what we were thinking, but we decided that we're going to create our own theme music. So we have some instrumental songs that we created that will be played. Some you will hear some of it during the some of them during the week because we also use them to create as part of our author showcase. Just to give it a little bit of life.
Right.
So you will hear an opening theme. I think some people sleeping with that theme in their head, dreaming about it right now. So I mean, as I said, this is as much as about authors as it is about readers and the audience. I
Right.
want us to stress that. As a matter of fact, tonight is really about promoting it to readers and those who love books and everything because the authors, they've done their part. Most of them, they've done their submissions, they've done their interviews, those who opted to be interviewed. We still have a few stragglers, but hopefully we get them in before the week is over. But tonight is really about encouraging readers, and even if you're not a reader, I shouldn't even say that. Just
Folks who
everyone,
enjoy
folks who
storytelling
enjoy stories,
and
even if
poems and stuff like that. Yeah.
even if you don't enjoy stories, but tune in, you might find something. It might inspire you to pick up a book and read. So it's just about everyone. It's about our society, our people, our culture. And as I said, as Celia mentioned, there are books on a variety of topics and genres. If you like books about witches and demons, someone chances are has submitted something on that. There are books on philosophy. There are the writers who, you know, um, who can help us understand society or understand the human condition. All of that. So it's a wide spectrum of different authors, different types of authors in different stages of their career as authors. So it's just a whole well to borrow a phrase, it's a whole bouillon. So if you're Dominican, you love a bouillon. That is, that's a literary bouillon. We should have
Yeah.
stolen that phrase, Celia.
And yeah, just to add on that, Nicole made a very good point that even beyond the festival, what we've actually now got is a repository of of this material, so it can also act as an archive, because so often we find that writers who have passed on, and we've not got anything recorded of them reading their own work. We've never heard their own voice, them reading their work in their own voice. So the YouTube channel, which is at Write-Tukubuli, I'd really advise people, if you haven't subscribed, to please subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's going to be our Dominican literary repository. Hopefully we can grow on that for the future.
Yeah. And but let me just add quickly, I keep forgetting to do that. We are actually streaming this interview on the YouTube channel right now. So, and I think an earlier interview we did earlier is on there. So, just want you folks to know that we are serious about promoting Dominican writers or promoting our authors. And I know we've been asked before, why only Dominican writers? Well, the truth is, if we had to take on any additional writers, we would need a whole 400 people team with the budget of a small country. But we certainly hope that we can grow in the near future. We can make this an annual thing, and and have more assistance, from different NGOs, from governments, whomever, philanthropists, those who have money and not sure what to do with it. Well, you can 1%.
Yeah, and with all of what we've done, I like to think that one of the things we should aspire to is to have artists make a living from their art. That's one of the reasons I
Yeah.
like to just promote artists, whether they're authors or painters or dancers or any one of the arts, sculptors. Uh, I think the best thing in a society, one of the best things in a society, is to be able to produce artists who can make a livelihood out of their art, and therefore they can focus on being creative and really developing their craft. And so there are a few people who do that. We would like to see more of that. So one of my personal aspirations for this festival is to move the needle in that direction. That hopefully at the end of the week, if every author could sell at least one work as a first, you say, okay, yeah, we have these offers, these are their works, this is where it's available, make a purchase, support them, and show them that you appreciate the fact that they're sharing their talent and their gift with us, and make a purchase. Let us move our culture towards where we put so much value in what's available that we start to give our art as gifts. You know, sometimes you go on a trip and you bring back a gift for the people that you close, maybe the person that gave you a ride to the airport, the person that babysits your kids, and you buy a postcard or you buy a book. Well, we want to put it to where people who are aware of the top quality writing, you feel so proud that you can give your niece, your nephew, your spouse a book by Roy Sanford or Celia Sorrento or Nicole Georges or Sam George or Annette or Catherine. You a book as a gift. So it, it does so many things on so many different levels, and you're not just doing it to support, to say that okay, I'm just giving it. You actually are getting a good quality book that's well done, and and a story that is well told, and with that you will see so many spin-off industries, because then you have artists who design book covers or illustrate in the inside of the book. We have people who go into marketing. We have people who go into typesetting. When you hear the story of Steve Jobs, for example, one of the things that benefited him the most is because he knew about fonts. He had taken a class in college on fonts and he understood fonts. And so when he came to do the Apple computer, he could understand better than most of the other people who just did computers, what type of fonts to incorporate into the interfaces, into the applications, and so on. So there are so many spin-off industries that come off of just writing, and so one of the aspirations, as Nicole said, is to have a YouTube channel, and it's at Write-Tukubuli, right? It's at Write-Tukubuli on YouTube. You can go on the channel and see all of the work that's on display. So, whoa, we burned through the hour. We've burned through the hour. Roy, you haven't spoken as much, so you know, are you familiar, because you're part of a writers group in Dominica, right?
Yeah, I'm part of the Write-Tukubuli writers.
Right to Kubuli. Why the right to Kubuli? Why to Kubuli right?
Right.
Are you guys going to? But so on the ground with your members, are they really excited about the festival?
Well, I think so. As a matter of fact, we'll be having our monthly meeting on Saturday, this
Mm,
coming Saturday, and I think we'll be having a physical face-to-face meeting kind
mhm.
of thing. So I think then I will be able to gauge the mood of the different of the members of the group, on their opinions on the festival itself. So hopefully I'll be able to get a better idea. But from what I got or the one or two that I've spoken to, it seems to be interested in it. I'm not I'm not sure if our members have submitted works and they submitted as just themselves or as member of Write-Tukubuli writers. I'm not sure, but I've spoken to at least 3 members who have said that they were really excited about it and were looking forward to it. But I think on Saturday I should be able to get a better idea of what the folks have to say.
Yeah. And as Sam said, we really want to encourage the audience. And even though this is the first one, so we really targeted Dominican writers, the fact is that uh, you in the audience, share it with your friends, share it with your family, let them know that it's happening. Uh, all if you are on the program tonight, send out a text uh, to 10 people and ask them to share it. Let's see if we can get a crowd. Let's see if we can build momentum as we come towards the end of the year, as we approach World Queer Music Festival. Remind the folks who are traveling to Dominica for the festival to come back with at least one book from a Dominican author. Uh, Also, parents, if you can call your education officer, talk to your principal about getting some of the Dominican books in the schools. There's so much work. We did a little festival and over 70 people registered, writers registered to participate. Imagine the amount of works that's available. When I was in high school, we used to do books from mostly Trinidadian writers, and maybe I think one guy from St. Lucia, but we had, King of the Masquerade, Talk of the Tamarind. A lot of those books were written by Trinidadians because, again, because of where they lived, they probably had more access to printing and publishing than our writers in Dominica. And so now that the technology allows us to do that, we want you to encourage them, give them a call, talk to them, ask them, do you have any books available in your library? Do you have any books as part of your course, your teaching program that is written by a Dominican? Just ask them that. And if they say yes, great. Can we get more? If they say no, that speaks for itself, right? That, why not? We have so many writers. Why not? And we have nonfiction, we have historical, we have novels in all different genres. We have poems, and so we really, really want to encourage you to mark the date down. It's an all day program for 6 days, Monday to Saturday. And we really want to reward all of those writers that put themselves out, because participating took some effort. They had to send in a recording, they had to send in some work to to have represent them at the festival, and plus a lot of them are going to show up as part of the program. So it takes some effort. Let's reward them by really planning to attend. Folks, we are a little bit beyond the hour, so I'm going to give each person the opportunity to just recap. If there are some housekeeping things that we need or things that we need to announce, feel free. Uh, but I am going to start with Sam. Let's bring it to a close. I'll end with you because you may have one or two items in your notes that you might want to highlight. I don't know if we've covered everything. Nicole in the in the chat, be sure to put, if you're still with us, be sure to put any your ideas as well, your encouragement for the whole project. Sam, go first.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, bro, for having us. And of course, as we mentioned earlier, this has been something that I know that you have always wanted to do. And quite honest, I when Nicole and I discussed it, I said, well, two things. First of all, that's something Anthony always wanted to do, so he has to be involved. And second, we can't do it without Celia Sorrento. So I said, reach out to Celia. If she said we can do it, we'll do it. If not, then I don't know. because I knew she had experience with the Nature Literary Festival. And then, we ended up we said, okay, we'll bring in all the other writers groups. We reached out to several writers groups, and only, it's Peter Noir, Roy's group, Write-Tukubuli Writers, and the Dominican Poetic Circle. They were the ones who said, yes, we can do it. So, and it's been an interesting, fun, tiring production, but I believe in the end it will be well worth it. It will be well worth, you know, just providing a platform. I think we have a little phrase. It's not a gate, it's a stage, something like that. I think it's in there. Yeah. So it's just a stage for our writers, authors, and interestingly, I may just add. I don't want to take up too much more time, but we are not just looking at people who write or wrote fiction or wrote in the traditional sense, or what we would say this person is a writer. We talked to songwriters, we talked to folks who wrote cookbooks. Just looking at the whole heading of writing, trying to look at it as a whole from a different perspective. I believe there's going to be a live conversation about video game writing for video games. The only thing I think we should have put something there about coding, but
Writing in machine language, huh?
exactly. But it's looking at the whole concept of writing in general and showing folks that you have ideas locked in your head. Stop hiding it. Put your ideas out there. I know, and I always say it's a tough thing. It takes a certain amount of bravery to write something and put it out there, because you don't know how people are going to react. You don't know what they're going to say, if they're going to like it, if they're going to read it. You just don't know. But you feel much better when you've just let that go, when you've let it out, and you'll feel so much better that you'll be asking yourself, why did I waste so much time? And you're never too young, by the way. So if you're a young person, you want to write, you want to publish something, talk to your parents. Let them know, it's mom, dad, I have this, I want to write it, can I help them? And you will find the resources. They'll find the resources to assist you. And of course, I want to encourage parents, support your children. If they want to be writers, if they tell you they want to be a poet when they grow up, encourage them. Don't tell them, oh, that I haven't got money in it. And don't do that, because, I say this because I grew up in a household where reading was encouraged. We were never told whatever we said we wanted to do when we grew up. Most of us didn't end up becoming those things, but we were never told, oh, you cannot do this, or you cannot do that. It's always work for it. Do what you can, do what you want to do. So, we have to encourage our children. And if you hadn't been doing that in the past, now is the time to start. It's not too late to encourage our children. And that, I think that is ultimately one of the goals, to see our kids back with the pen, back with the whichever tool they're using, instead of just scrolling, actually doing something with those devices that are so powerful, those computers we walk around with. Do some writing. And again, to the readers, to the lovers of books, to all of you watching or will watch this later on, we want to encourage you to support not the four of us on screen right now, but the authors who are going to be presenting their work, or who have taken the time from their day to record videos, taking the time to sit down for interviews. Some of them are an hour long. The moderators who have taken the time to put together workshops to present to you. All of this deserves, your support. So that's where I leave it tonight. Thank you again. And I yield the floor.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome, and thank you as part of the committee. Thank you for the pivotal role that you play in organizing this to bring it to our audience. Roy, final thoughts and comments.
Well, I am really looking, to be honest, I'm really looking forward to this. When the idea was um, put to me by Nicole, and I was at first I was a little bit skeptical, to be honest. But then afterwards, when I heard the amount of people that were, I mean, writers or authors that were, becoming part of this whole venture, I was really encouraged. So I'm really looking forward to that. I would really like to commend people like Celia and Nicole, of course, and Sam, who have put so much into this. And I think when all of this is over, I wish we could go somewhere and have a little drink. You know what I mean? But but I really appreciate the work that they have done, put into this, and I really believe that we can be successful and we will be successful. And I'm hoping that we have more of these festivals in the future.
Thank you, Roy. I see Father Coffee is here, Father Franklin Coffee. He's our guardian of our rivers. Uh, so much accolades and so much thankful is for him. He's going to be my guest on the 24th because the last Sunday in September is World Rivers Day. So um, Father Coffee and his co-conspirators who are trying their very hardest to help protect our rivers will be my guests on the 24th. We have one of our participating writers is on here, Rosalind Severa McLean, and she's a writer of Oceans of Thought. She says she will be on. She's listening from New York and she's going to be an active part of the festival. Nicole says, shout out to Dominic Poetic Circle, and Leslie and Kalinago Wari. I hope that's how she says it, Wari. That they too, Leslie is part of the meetings on the committee as well, and Kalinago as well contributed. So thank you to them. Celia, your turn. Do you think that Write-Tukubuli uh, festival can become a annual event?
I think first off, we'll just make sure this one is as successful as possible. And I think that's the first place. I never like to run too far ahead, so that's kind of the ultimate focus.
Very
And
wise, very wise.
and just to say, shout out Father Coffee. Just to say, one of the items on the schedule is the wonderful book that the late Violet Coffee was very much involved in, which is about the Creole culture. And there will be an extract reading from that. So, it just again shows the diversity of what we've received. And just on a final note, I just want to really emphasize that this is really a team effort. It's really just everybody pulling on their different experiences and their different skills, and I just think it's worked so well in that respect. Everybody brought something, that was invaluable to bringing this to fruition. So I think it just shows that when you collaborate and work together, you can really do amazing things. And the final thing I want to say is it really takes a lot for somebody who's not a well-known writer or who's not confident to put a video together and put themselves out there to be shown in public. So I want to commend everybody who has done that and submitted, and to say we see every video that we received as a star, and I like to see it as this is a constellation of Dominican writers. There's no single stars. It's a constellation that shines really bright, and the variety and diversity from young to not so young at different stages. That's the thing that has really warmed my heart in doing this, and made it so worthwhile. So thank you to all those who sent in their work.
Thank you. And thank you again, as I said again, to the committee. Thank you for taking the time to come and share with us uh, this week. Uh, the schedule is rich, very, very deep. And this is the format, the daily format. But every day it will be different because we have such a wide variety of writing. As some said, the only writing we think that is not represented at the festival is coding, software coding, but the writing for games, script writing, poetry, spoken word, novels, work of fiction, historical, non-fiction. Just name it, and you will find it. And I encourage you to go to the YouTube channel at Write-Tukubuli and like and subscribe and hit the notification bell, because that is how you're going to get a notification every time that's going to remind you, oh, this book I wanted to listen to, I wanted to hear what was the story behind this person's publication. You're going to get a notification that's going to remind you of that. So put it in your calendar, but also go on YouTube channel. Make sure you can get there at ease and easily. You don't want to be scrambling if something, your cache is full or something, and you say, why I click that link, it's not working, what's happening, and you might just miss your favorite part that you were really looking for. So go on there before, go on there now, go, because this program is actually streaming live on there. There's already some content on there, so go on there, subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell so that you will get a notice every time. And make sure you plan to participate. It's a lot of information. You're going to feel like you're drinking from a fire hose, but that's the whole point. The point is that we want to shock and awe you about the quantity as well as the quality of literary work that is available in Dominica. Like how in high school we used to do English literature, I think we can do Dominican literature and really get that whole body of work in an organized and easily accessible manner, because we have so many writers. And they said, if a tree falls in the forest and nobody is there to hear it, does it make a sound? And the answer, of course, is that it doesn't matter if it makes a sound if nobody is there to hear it. So this is our way of bringing you, not individually, but as a collective, into that writer space, and so you can experience, and it's something to be proud of. I am one of the people that says that it seems like in Dominica and the Caribbean we're all about play. Every week there's a festival, every week there, and we see, you know the the aspect of our life, the beauty in our life seems to come strictly from physical stimulation. But this gives us a different angle, a different perspective, where we can appreciate the aesthetics of life from thought, and from folks expressing their thought, and showing up their beautiful work in the form of writing. And I encourage you to participate. I can guarantee you that after you've spent time with us at the festival, you're going to be even more proud to be a Dominican. You're going to be even more proud to be from the Caribbean, because you will not believe, I can guarantee you, you will be shocked and will be surprised at the quality and the vast variety of work that you will be immersed in at the Write-Tukubuli Literary Festival that starts on the 15th and ends with a bang, a whole day of live activities. I'll be hosting one program at 2 p.m. on the Saturday, the last day I'll be hosting, talking about exposure to Dominican books and branding and that sort of thing. I'll be carrying that from 2 p.m. on Saturday. You'll see the programs that's going to show, you can get to listen to your folks that you know and folks that you don't know. I'm telling you, if you miss it, although you will be able to catch the replay, but the energy is go on in the live will be electric, and you want to be part of that. So plan it the 15th to the 20th, and therefore next week Wednesday the 17th will be smack dab in the middle of the festival. And so this weekend interview is going to begin at 7 p.m. because we're going to carry that session that starts at 7 p.m. and goes until 9 p.m. We are going to carry that live. You see, at 7 p.m. it is the what we call the lead vibes, and it's going to be a live. And that's what we're going to be carrying on next week Wednesday as our this weekend interview program. So mark your calendar. Don't arrive an hour late because you say, "Oh, this weekend interview is at 8 o'clock." We'll be starting at 7 p.m. next week and going to 9 because we'll be carrying live that activity from the virtual literary festival, Write-Tukubuli virtual literary festival. So use virtual, you can listen anywhere in the world, share it, let your folks know that this is happening, and every chance you get, let me see what's going on there now. Put it on. You go to take a bathroom break. What's going on there? You had lunch break. Want to see what's almost like how you would do like a cricket match when you cannot watch it full time because of where you work. Every break you get, what's the score? Who's batting? How that person got out. How did that person bat? That's the attitude we really want you to have during the literary festival from the 15th to the 20th. Let your life revolve around that festival for that week. It'll be worth it. It will really, really be worth it. With over 70 writers submitting works, you will not regret. You will absolutely not regret. Rosalind is saying, put the link in the chat. I think he did, Rosalind. If you see, it says YouTube. Um, YouTube slash at Write-Tukubuli. That is it's right here, and it's also in the chat. Write-Tukubuli. That's where you can tune in. We encourage you. TD will be carrying it live as well, but we encourage you to get into the habit to go on the YouTube channel because that is where we're going to continue our interaction with writers beyond the festival. We'll have that as an ongoing channel. So, folks, I want to say good night to you and thank you for tuning in as usual. Give your support to the Write-Tukubuli Literary Festival from the 15th of September to the 20th. Those of you who are celebrating birthdays, happy birthday. Tomorrow is 9/11. I have two folks that celebrate birthdays tomorrow. Actually, Weeper, DJ Weeper, King Edward, his birthday is tomorrow. Uh, one of these days, I'm going to bring you on so you can experience his wonderful DJing skills. He'll be one. Actually, he will be one of the DJs that will be providing the light, the mood and the musical. How do they say the incidental music for the festival on Saturday. His birthday is tomorrow. So happy birthday, DJ Weeper. And if you're celebrating birthdays this week into next week, happy birthday to you, anniversaries as well. And I know a bunch of kids are back to school. So get a book for them while they are in the car. They can read, and you guys will have wonderful discussions about the flying crapo and all the other books. Y- the book by Rosalind, Oceans of Thought, again, stimulating, just that on the esoteric side. So, folks, I can talk about books all night, but I'm going to stop. I'm going to tell you good night, and we will see you in the festival beginning on Monday, the 15th. Good night, everyone.